I awoke this morning and all I could think about was the letter Nun. Nun, 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 nun. It's all I could think about. I've been working on Psalm 121, and the idea of the I, not the letter I, but the I. And the Nun has to do with what we'll call the private I, the guardian of Israel, the Shomer, who is Hashem. On Tashlik, we go out to a water that has fish and do our Tashlik prayers. Why do we do this? Because fish have the eye that is always open. Fish don't have lids. So it's the eye that's always open, always seeing, always protecting, always seeing all your actions. This in itself is the letter Nun, because Nun means fish. So this Nun as fish, you see, in water, in Torah, because water is a symbol for Torah. And even the wordings that go in common talk, a fish out of water, things like that. The Nun is the amazing number of 50. 50 occurs after 7 times 7, and then there's a Shavuos. Shavuos is the 50th day, and it's the 50th gate. The 50th gate of Bina, which is Keter itself. This one aspect that occurs after 7 times 7, after 49. There's many other things about this, about Teruma and stuff like that. And I'm not going to ruin it for you. Find it yourself. I also want you to use the internet and look up the letter Nun, the symbols of the letter Nun. What does it really mean? The gematria of Nun is written Bent Nun, Vav, final Nun. That's 106. 106 is also the gematria of Kav. And it's also a gematria of mine that I like to use now, of the word man. You know, in my prayer book, I say the portion of the man, the manna, every day during chakras prayers. Man is spelled Mem, final Nun. And the vowel involved is the kametz, which is written with a horizontal line like a vav, and then a dot like a yud underneath. So one uses that for 16 vav and yud, 16, plus the 90 of the mem and the nun. And that gives us 106. Which is the same as Nun itself. And so Nun, man, mana, man, has a direct relationship to the letter Nun. Why? Because it's in a miraculous area. The 50th gate is, again, it's an 8th level. After 7 weeks of 7 times 7, 7 full weeks of 49, then an 8th level comes in as the 50th. This 8 is reflected in all Judaism as a bris, as a Shemini Atzeres, as the 8th candle of Hanukkah. 8 is the infinite number. As you know, 6 is the physical number, 6 days. 7 is the spiritual number. So when we have 7 times 7, we have a completeness in spirituality. Also, 7 times 7, or 7 as a 7 in its fullness, could also be 70. That's another story. 7 times 7, that's the 7 midot, completion. And then there's an 8th, and that's Shavuos. That's the giving of the Torah. So that 8 is the infinite level. See? So it's 6 for physical, 7 for spiritual, and then 8 for infinite level, beyond the spiritual level, beyond the Shabbos. And so this letter Nun relates to that area. And one of the reasons the Nun relates to that area is because the Nun is a Vav. It's written as a Vav with the head a little bit to the left in writing the Vav, not like a Zion where the head's on top. The Yud of the Zion writing is on top, but the Yud of the Vav is below. It is to the left. So it's just like a Vav, but extended below the line. And as you know, I think the Vav is like the most important letter. It's a Vav Hipuk, which changes things around. And this goes below into the Sitra Akra. Goes below the line into the Din. And this is the real deal down here. Below the line. In a certain sense, below the level of the water. Into the depths of the water. So that's another way to look at the concept of manna. Man. Mem is water. And this final nun goes into the depths of the water. Mem is Torah, surface, and the nun goes down into the depths, below the line. And when this regular nun, which they call the bent nun, is ready, it's rewarded by going below the line. And that's how you fish. You send a line out into the water, boom, and you get the fish. Then there's a thing like deep sea diving. What do you think the reason that people like that? Go below the line. You see, into the depths of the unconscious. That's what depth psychology is all about. Go below the depths of water, of amniotic fluids. It's back into the womb. So this is a very deep aspect, and it's all I'm thinking about all morning. Nun, 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 nun. I was up with the birds this morning, but I was thinking of the fishes. Some people think of birds and the bees. I think of birds and fish. So, this deep level of the Nun is related also in Psalm 121, which is my particular psalm, dealing with the protection of Israel. They do this now as an amulet over they bring it into the room where the woman is going to have a child. And this psalm protects the child because Nun itself, I think, in Aramaic or something, please look it up, means aborted fetus. So this psalm protects this. You see? This is the all-watching eye. The all-watching eye. Quite frankly, I like to think of that as the tefillin, the third eye. The tefillin goes between the eyes. And that tefillin has 7 branches, 7 valves on it. 3 in the shin of the right side, 4 in the shin of the left side. That's 7. And for me, this 7 is 700. Because 7 here in its totalities, 7 times 10 times 10 is 700. And that's the final value. Shin as a final value has, excuse me, not Shin. Nun as a final value is 700. So this 700, which is also the name of Adam's child Shet, Shin Tov, the child that came instead of Hevel, the third child. And there's a lot of symbolism with that, but Shet is 700, which is the final Nun. And so there's a direct relationship there. The other thing here, so this is a protection for childbirth, is 121, because it's a guardian eye. Now they also say that it protects for 30 days after the childbirth. And where do they get that? Where do they get that 30 days? Do you think it comes out of the air? Do you really? You think these geniuses that have been working for 5,778 years are just making things up out of the air? Why does Psalm 121 protect for 30 days, where the other Psalms in the Shir HaMa'alot are not called for that? The reason why is Psalm 121 is the only Psalm of the Shir HaMa'alot that isn't called Shir HaMa'alot. Do you know that? It's Shir Ma'alot. Lamed. It's not a hey. The other 14 of these Shir HaMa'alot are with a hey. This one's with a lamed. Why? This one is the one that rises up. As I think it's Rashi says there, it rises from lower Gan Eden to upper Gan Eden. From where the tree of life is and up. This is so deep. It's actually not, it's actually high. It's so deep, it's high. Lamed. Lamed, who's the only letter that goes above the line. The only letter that goes above the line is a Lamed. And when written upside down, if you read the Torah upside down, that Lamed is the only letter that goes below the line. And that Lamed's written Kaf, Vav. So it relates to the Vav. Actually, it's the Vav between the two Nun, in the letter Nun, spelt out Nun, Vav, Nun. So, this Lamed is 30. 30. And that's why I protect, the gematria of Lamed is 30. And that's why it protects for 30 days after the childbirth. Okay? So it has to do with childbirth. This psalm, they put this psalm in when the child gets born. And so it's the birth of the new. And every day is the birth of the new. Every day is a birth. A different aspect of your soul every day. Coming out of the waters. Now we know that we're a fish because Moshe was a fish. It's considered a fish because, and that's Nun, that's what the letter Nun means, fish. Because he was like taken out of the waters in Egypt, the Nile, wherever it was there, in a basket, you know. Also, his successor is Yeshua ben Nun, because Moses was Nun. And Yeshua was his follower, his disciple, and next in line to take care of everything. He was a son of Nun, son of a fish. Why? Because his eye is always open. There's a very deep level of fish. Another thing about the letter, the concept of the man. Concept of the man. Let's do the gematria of man. Because I like this concept of water and fish being the relationship to man. Man is mem, it's 80, and it's nun, 106, that's 186. Now, 186 in gematria, in, deep esoteric thought, is makum, means place. But it also is yud squared, hey squared, vav squared, hey squared. Repeat that. Yud squared, 100. Hey squared, 25. Vav squared, 36. That's right. That's 161 plus another hey squared, 25, 161, it's 186. So it's Yud K Vav K squared is the same as the two letters Mem, final Nun. These two letters also on Yom HaKippurim come out because they're part of the 5 things that you don't do on Yom HaKippurim. We'll leave that. So part of this fish, this all-protecting eye, the eye that's always open, you see, always protecting. Not much different than the shin that you sometimes, or the shaddai, or whatever you see on the mezuzah. The mezuzah is also protecting, always protecting you. Inside the house, and when you put it up, it protects you outside the house. It's the guardian Shomer Yisrael, it's a guardian of Israel. And this is because the guardian of Israel, as it says, it never slumbers or sleeps. Its eye is always open, and that's the fish. So, today for the letter Nun, it's the fish, the eye that is always open.